Gainesville, look, we need to talk. It's not you, it's me. I think it's time for us to break up. This is just not working out. I need a change.
What kind of change are you looking for?
I just need better job options, and honestly, you've gotten so expensive recently, and you're just so high maintenance, I cannot keep up.
What else are you looking for?
There's just not much to do. You're so boring.
Oh, please, you haven't even taken the time to get to know me and all that I have to offer.
I miss my family too. I want to be back closer with them.
So it's your mom.
Fine, you're right. It is you. You're terrible.
I don't think you're gonna find better.
I know I will. Maybe it's just me, but recently I've been helping more and more people leave Gainesville. It seems like after an initial honeymoon phase of a year or two, people are already ready to leave the area. Since this has been happening more frequently, I've started asking people exactly why they want to leave Gainesville, and I've also been checking in with people who are staying in town to find out what would cause them to leave. In doing this, I was hoping to share with you some of those reasons, and I thought one of two things would happen. One, you would learn more about Gainesville, realize it's not the place for you, we'd never get a chance to meet, and you would just go on about your life. Or two, as you learn more about Gainesville, you decide it is the right place for you and you give me a call. Either way, it seems like a win for you. The most common reason people are leaving Gainesville is going to be work related. Now, of course, a lot of people do come to Gainesville to go to the university and then they end up leaving for a different career. That's not really what I'm talking about here. What I found, even once you remove the graduates, is a lot of people with highly specialized skills or in specific fields of work, and Gainesville's just not big enough to provide the jobs they're looking for. Now, it's not all bad news on the job front. Gainesville does have a lot of opportunities in the area, especially if you're looking at the university or the hospital. But really beyond that, there are a ton of great local companies looking for talent. My advice would be really to evaluate your career field. Don't just look for the job that you need now. Make sure you're looking maybe 5 years out to see if Gainesville can still support that opportunity. So next on the list for reasons to leave Gainesville that constantly came up was going to be family. Now this is really no surprise and can happen anywhere, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but you definitely want to take into consideration your family and the relationships you have. It can be really difficult to move to a new area with no established relationships. Real quick, I'm curious whether you're deciding to move to Gainesville or potentially considering a move away from Gainesville. Let me know down in the comments what you see as the most challenging hurdle or the biggest concern you have about calling Gainesville home. Again, just down in the comments, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now moving on to number 3, this one was actually a bit of a surprise to me, but the reoccurring theme was Gainesville's lack of charm. Gainesville's not an extremely old city, and Gainesville also doesn't have a ton of history. As you're traveling around town, you will definitely notice a lot of strip malls, big box stores, and chain restaurants. Unfortunately, Gainesville is just not one of those places where you can go out on a Saturday exploring new areas and just happen to pop in to a mom and pop coffee shop that was never known. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great local shops and definitely some must-visit places in town. I will mention what we lack for in those areas definitely is made up for in natural scenery. If you enjoy the outdoors, that may tip the scales back in Gainesville's favor. If you're new to the channel, I'm a local real estate agent here in Gainesville, Florida. I share these videos with you so you know exactly what to expect if you're moving to the area. We talk about things like the best schools, the best places to live, and all the things there are to do here in Gainesville. If you don't want to miss a thing, make sure you start by clicking the subscribe button. So if you've made it this far, you've already heard me say it a few times. Gainesville is a relatively small town. With a population of around 140,000 people, it is not a massive city. But with that said, one reoccurring complaint that I did constantly hear was how long it took to get from place to place. Gainesville is fairly spread out and it can take some time to travel around town and get stuff done. That's not necessarily because of the traffic. You'll notice it just takes a while to run those errands. While I don't think this is a primary reason causing anyone to pack up and move, it is a compounding factor and something you want to take into consideration if you're planning to move to the area. So here's a quick story. About a week ago, I received a call from a woman who lived in California. Her husband had just received a job opportunity here in Gainesville. The only problem was they needed to make a decision that day, and they've never even been to Gainesville. So we spent about an hour going back and forth talking about the pros and cons of Gainesville and what their life could look like here. I share that story with you to hopefully remove any hesitation you have about reaching out to me. I honestly love helping people and love having those conversations. So if you're thinking about a move to Gainesville, definitely don't hesitate. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, let me know what questions you have and how I can help. So it really seems like a lot of issues boil down to this next item. It's all about the money. I commonly hear about two major complaints, and that's going to be the cost of utilities and the cost of property taxes. Gainesville Regional Utilities is the local provider for the majority of people in the city when it comes to utilities and water services. And unfortunately, they do get a lot of attention because their fees and expenses are going to be higher than most places here in the state of Florida. But keep in mind, if you look at some of these specific neighborhoods in some areas right outside of the city of Gainesville, you could fall into Clay Electric utility range, and they do have a much lower cost when it comes to utility services. Property taxes are another financial hurdle for homeowners. Historically, Alachua County has consistently been on the higher end of property taxes for the entire state of Florida. But the positive thing is, especially for those moving from outside of the state of Florida into the state of Florida, is there is no income tax in the state. So that may help balance things out. Now that you have a better feel for what Gainesville is and also what Gainesville isn't, what you'll want to do next is go ahead and watch this video where I share with you exactly what you need to know before moving to Gainesville. Now that we've talked about it, you're right on some of the stuff. I may end up coming back, we'll see.
That's not the first time I've heard that.